As I said, it's time for Pothead Punditry, when we put away the silliness on the Stoner Jesus Show and we talk about the serious issues of the day. Our nation stands on the brink. Every day brings new federal encroachments that take our freedoms and strangle our will. There comes a time when the silliness must take a back seat to the serious issues of the day. The time is now. It's time to fight back and reclaim the freedom that is rightfully ours. It is time to discuss the serious issues of the day with Stoner Jesus' Pothead Punditry. Oh yeah, it's Pothead Punditry. This is episode 11. Thank you all for listening on the Stoner Jesus Show live on Spreaker, on the podcast on stonerjesus.net, and on iTunes and whatever. And as a matter of fact, if you have iTunes, search Stoner Jesus in the podcast directory and get our ranking up there with more downloads and subscriptions on iTunes. People writing me on Skype telling me to tune into their show. I am live on my show. So, I'm doing Pothead Punditry. This is Pothead Punditry episode 11. Where, thank you all also for listening, who's listening on YouTube, where we put our Pothead Punditry episodes. You can find that linked at stonerjesus.net. Show we're going to talk about right now, or the story we're going to talk about right now. The Department of Justice wants to criminalize uploading YouTube videos. This is from Paul Joseph Watson at Infowars.com. The Department of Justice is attempting to criminalize uploading videos that break YouTube's terms of service, along with any other online action that is deemed to contravene a website's usage policy, in a shocking expansion of cybersecurity laws deemed draconian by critics. In a statement obtained by CNET that's scheduled to be delivered tomorrow, and this is written on November 15th, the Justice Department argues that it must be able to prosecute violation of websites' often ignored, always unintelligible terms of service policies, writes Declan McCullough. Such violations would include creating a fake Facebook profile, lying about your weight on dating websites, or providing any other item of false information that violates a website's TOS agreement. Under the Department of Justice's new legal framework, an expansion of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, agreeing to a website's term of service would be identical to sign a contract with an employer with similar punishments for breaking that contract. To the Justice Department, this means that a website's terms of service define what's authorized or not, and ignoring them can turn you into a felon, writes McCullough, pointing out that millions of Americans violate terms of agreement policies every single day. Indeed, in the case of YouTube, users are often informed months or even years later that they may have infringed on the company's terms of service agreement if another user merely complains about the content of their video. Attorney Stuart Baker warns that under the newly amended law, users uploading a copyrighted YouTube video more than once would fit into a pattern of racketeering with even harsher criminal penalties, at least if justice gets its way. This is crazy shit going on. A coalition of free speech organizations from across the political spectrum, including the ACLU, Americans for Tax Reform, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and FreedomWorks, have joined forces to oppose the move, savaging the proposed changes as an affront to the internet anonymity, in a letter to the Senate. If a person assumes a fictitious identity at a party, that there is no federal crime, the letter states. Yet if they assume the same identity on a social network that prohibits pseudonyms, there may again be a CFAA violation. That is a gross misuse of the law. As Infowars has documented, the attempt to create a communist Chinese-style system of internet policing, advocated by Senator Joe Lieberman, mandates that internet anonymity be outlawed and that a system even more draconian than what was rejected in China, individual IDs for internet users, be put into place. The attempt to expand CFAA is just one tentacle of an all-out war on internet freedom that has been launched by the federal government. Another piece of legislation that has received bipartisan support, the so-called Rogue Websites Bill, would create a Chinese-style ban list where ISPs would be mandated to block certain websites by government decree. That is what the world is coming to. And like I said before, some of you don't want to realize it or whatever. It doesn't matter whether you realize it or not, or whether you want to admit it or not, because it's here. They don't give a shit whether you admit it or not. Continuing Pothead Punditry. Department of Homeland Security secret police make arrests at Occupy Wall Street, Portland. Demotix has posted photos, that's demotix.com, showing that the Department of Homeland Security now operates as a secret police force that arrests people at political events, the hallmark of all totalitarian governments. The Federal Protective Service arrested a photographer at the Portland's Terry Shrunk Plaza, which is adjacent to both City Hall and the Edith Green Wendell Wyatt Federal Building. The Department of Homeland Security describes the FPS as a federal law enforcement agency that provides integrated security and law enforcement services to federally owned and leased buildings, facilities, properties, and other assets. The location of Portland's Terry Shrunk Plaza accounts for why the FPS officers may have participated in the arrest, since the jurisdiction of the plaza is shared by both local and federal authorities, according to Rick Ellis, writing for Examiner.com. FPS is working with the Portland Police Bureau to enforce the prohibition of overnight encampments at Shrunk Plaza while protecting the safety and security of all involved, said Chris Ortman, an agency spokesman, at the time of the photographer's arrest. Under Posse Comitatus, it is illegal for the federal government to collaborate with local law enforcement in the arrest of citizens. Jurisdiction of Shrunk Plaza is shared jointly by the federal government, the city, and the state of Oregon, the Oregonian explains. Both the Portland Police Department and the Federal Protective Service have not responded to a request for more information on the arrest from Infowars.com. It was reported earlier in the week that by a Justice Department official that local law enforcement has plotted its response to the OWS movement in coordination with the DHS, the FBI, and other federal agencies. So basically, Occupy Wall Street is going to be used as a pretext to roll out the secret police, just like they had in Nazi Germany. And you go on, I was like, oh, well, we live in America, and they can't do that. Bullshit. They can do whatever the fuck they want, because when you think about it, what are you going to do about it? Let me see how much time we got here. We got time for another story. Then we'll get up out of here. It's also from Infowars.com. Shocking video as police pepper spray UC Davis students staging passive sit-down protest. A shocking videotape of police forcefully pepper spraying a group of students staging a sit-down protest has emerged. Footage of the tense standoff between the police and Occupy demonstrators at the University of California, Davis, shows an officer using pepper spray on a group of protesters who appear to be sitting passively on the ground with their arms interlocked. Witnesses watched in horror as police moved in on more than a dozen tents erected in the campus quad, drenching demonstrators with burning yellow spray and arresting 10 people, 9 of them students. And on Infowars.com they have the video of the police. Friday, November 18th, 4:54 p.m. People sitting, and they start spraying them in the face with pepper spray. They're sitting on the ground. This stormtrooper is walking back and forth, spraying them in the face with pepper spray. Now they're trying to physically make them stand up. Here's another dude. He comes in, starts spraying them in the back of the head with pepper spray. I'm surprised they didn't kill this guy with a camera. Now they're being arrested. Yeah, he's hiding behind a tree, trying to film. And now they're arresting these awful people who were sitting on the fucking ground. Jesus Christ. The crowd, of course, chanting, "Shame on you." Shame on you indeed. What the fuck are you doing? They're on a fucking power trip. There's all kinds of other shit on Infowars.com you can check out. DOJReport.com too is good. They're taking our freedom, and the Occupy Wall Street protest is what's going to light the fuse. This is going to get worse before it gets better. That's been Pothead Punditry on the